Hello and welcome to Free the Mind UK, a chat with a therapist. Tonight we're going live. We've got two special guests. We've got Freddy Jacquin and we've got my special co-host, Kate May. It's going to be a fabulous chat, fabulous talk. My name is David Carson. I'm a hypnotherapist and I also work with integral eye movement therapy. You can find me on www.freetheminduk.co.uk. Now, before I introduce the guests, we're going to play the intro video. Here we go.
Not sure what therapy to choose? Free the Mind UK presents A Chat with a Therapist. Join us live for an up-close informal discussion of the various holistic therapies available, helping you make that important choice.
Superbo. Okay, so tonight with me I've got Kate May. She's my co-host. Do you want to introduce yourself, Kate?
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I'm a life coach, hypnotherapist, and I also work with IEMT. Yeah, that's me.
Hey, and we've got a very, very special guest, Freddy Jacquin. Freddy is an internationally acclaimed hypnotherapist, been working since 94, Freddy, I believe.
Yeah.
Author of several books, The Lazy Way to Enlightenment and Unlimited Happiness.
Yeah.
Fantastic. The Jacquin Rope Workout.
Right. Yeah.
That's another one. And your latest book, I believe, is Hypnotherapy, Methods, Techniques and Philosophies.
Yeah, that's probably the oldest one, actually. But
oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Freddy's also has a Bachelor of Science in Clinical Hypnotherapy and is founder of the UK Hypnotherapy College, inventor of the famous arrow technique, the blink and delete technique, and the goodie buy bag technique. And I'm sure there's lots more, Freddy.
Yeah. Those are the only three that I mentioned. But yeah, I'm always some other way of changing people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to be chatting tonight about using positive emotions in therapy.
Yeah.
So do you want to sort of tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, thanks for inviting me on. And
it's a pleasure,
nice
Freddy. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
it's
thanks. Well, it's good of you to invite me on. But yeah, it's really talking about emotion, how we can utilize emotion to help people change, how we can elicit emotion to create hypnosis. And so for me, it's the game changer that I've been working with for a long time, and so I've been teaching it for a long time. Because I think it's what's been missing from most hypnotherapy schools is the use of emotion. Over the years, as you know, I've been working with people for all kinds of different things. And I remember years ago when I was working with groups of people for smoking, and this is back in maybe like late 90s, and I was using the finger lock just as a demonstration of the power of the mind. And I think I was one of the first, I've got to be honest, to start using that finger lock. And then, but I realized that if I introduced emotion, then that would be much more powerful. It's the magnetic fingers that most hypnotherapists do.
Yeah.
But the finger lock is something different because then it's a test. Then it's a fail, win or a pass or fail test. And most people don't want to fail. I don't want to.
What do you put your fingers like that or something, Freddy? Is that the one?
Put your fingers like this.
Do you not do that?
Have I not done that technique?
Yeah, I mean, it like you say, Kate, it's like kids use in a playground. But there's what it is within that, but it changes. That's the thing that most stage hypnotists would use.
Yeah, I use that.
They use a hand lock or whatever to try and get their subjects. But that's not a reason for using it. And if we move it to the next stage and we introduce in emotion, then it changes it completely. And so for me now, hypnosis is not complex. If I can create an emotion, if I can wait until emotion arises, and obviously if we're working with people who are killing themselves with drugs or alcohol or smoking or whatever it might be, and I'm speaking about the people they love, and I see an emotion rise on their face, then I'm going to use that. I'm going to get very direct with my suggestions. And for me, it's very simple. I mean, let me show you what I mean by this. Are you up for seeing how this works, Kate?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, we haven't met before, and it's not, you can do it as well, Dave. So can I just ask you, Kate, who are the most important people in your life? Who do you love most?
My son and my grandson.
Okay, what's your son's name?
George.
And your grandson?
George.
Oh, two Georges. Okay, the same for you, Dave. Who's the most important people in your life?
My two beautiful daughters, Freddie.
Okay, right. Well, I want you to think about your girls, and I want you to think about your son and your grandson. And I want you to do this for me. Just put your arm out in front of you like this, at shoulder height.
Okay.
Okay. And look at me in the camera,
Mm-hmm.
and just think about those people you love. See those beautiful boys of yours, Kate. See those girls of yours, Dave, and feel that love you feel for them. Feel that love right now. See those smiles, feel that love. And I want you to notice as you feel that love, that arm's hanging all by itself. Imagine there's nothing you can do about that. And when you realize there's nothing you can do about it, I want you to try and get your arm down and find it goes even higher. But I don't want you to pretend. I want you to push as hard as you can now. Find that arm going even higher. Put some effort in. You're strong people. The harder you try and get that arm down, the harder it's going to go. Feel that force pulling it up. Are you hypnotized? You're in a trance. Why can't you get your arm down? Now, something very strange is going to happen. The harder you try and get that arm down, the harder the one's going to go. Feel that force pulling the other one up. Imagine there's nothing you can do about that. Feel that energy around that hand. That's right, Dave. And it's going to seem funny to you. And it's going to start to giggle. And you're going to start to laugh out loud, Dave. And it's going to feel incredibly funny. And the funnier it gets, the higher that arm's going to go. But are you hypnotized? Are you in a trance? Why can't you get your arms down? Come on, you're strong people. Feel that force now. And feel that love that your kids feel for you. That'll remind you just how loved you are. I'm going to snap my fingers. Your arm will drift down. Your eyes will close for a split second. When they open, you have a smile on your face and you'll understand about the power of love over your mind. Now, where's the hypnosis? Where's all the stuff that people teach you about hypnosis, deeper and deeper, sleep, all that stuff? Where's that gone? Kate,
Absolutely.
Think about George.
Yeah.
See his face. Remember when your son George was little George's age?
Yeah.
You remember how beautiful he was? Feel that love you feel for him. And notice as you feel that love, Kate, you're stuck in that chair and you can't get out. When you realise you can't get out, I want you to try and stand up, Kate. I don't want you to pretend. Try and stand up. Find you cannot. Try and get out of the chair. Push it as hard as you can. Come on. Try and stand up. Find you cannot. Push it even harder. Come on. You're a strong woman. Try and get out of the chair. How long have you been getting out of that chair for, Kate? You're going to feel like you're getting heavier and heavier. Are you hypnotised? Are you in a trance? Why can't you get out of the chair, Kate? I know, it's really weird, isn't it? Now your hands are stuck to the chair. Try and put your hands off the chair. Are you hypnotised? Why can't you get your hands off the chair? I'm going to click my fingers. Everything's going to go back to normal. Of course, you can stand up. You know how loved you are.
That's incredible, Freddie. Using that power of love.
But you know what? This is the whole point of what I'm talking about here this evening.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, you know, I listed a positive emotion. I asked you to think about the people you love.
Yeah.
It's a big enough kick of emotion
Mm-hmm.
for me to bypass any of your resistance. Now, here's the thing that's happening all the time in everyday life. You know, let's take the case where, you know, a woman might have a really good day with her kids. She's had a really good day. She's happy. Her husband's had a frustrating day. He comes in. He says something nasty to her, changes her emotion, and then tells her she's a rubbish mum or she's not any good. That happens enough times, she's going to believe that. You know, and then she's stuck with the thing, you know. So that happens all the time. We can look at the way we work differently. I used to think that people would come and see me with a problem, and we'd sit and talk about it, and I'd listen, and then I'd hypnotise them, and I'd make them do what they wanted to do or whatever it might be. I don't see it like that anymore. I believe that every one of my clients comes into my office already in trance, albeit, and I can't quit smoking trance, or I can't lose weight trance, or I can't get onto an aeroplane trance. Mm-hmm. That's been either self-induced or self-suggested or suggested by someone else. One of the things I do now with my clients, and I did it the other day with a guy who was, he's been anxious his whole life. He's a brilliant man. He's a lovely person. And he's very good at what he does. In fact, he's a hypnotist and he's a stage hypnotist. But he suffered from anxiety his whole life. And he told me that, you know, his mum was an anxious person. And we learn to be afraid, don't we, from our parents. If our parents are anxious, we learn to do it. I said, look, you've just been in a trance for 40 years. So I'm going to hypnotize you. And at some point, I'm going to count to 5, and you're going to come out of that 40-year trance you've been in. And I'm going to leave you in a positive Freddy trance. And that's what we did. And that's how I think about this now. I think we're just, when someone says, I can't do this, I can't do that. And to all intent and purpose, they've tried everything to do it, and they can't. That is their belief. But that's no different to me suggesting the case she can't get out of a chair and she's stuck in her chair. It's still a stuck state. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's no different. We think of it as something very complex. It's the behavior I'm stuck with. That's just been suggested to them by someone else or by themselves. That's all it is. And so for me, if we think about our limitations, the things that we're saying I can't do, I can't get over, and look at it, well, when did that happen? When did I make that decision? And then we can change it. You spoke about my blink and delete technique. Yeah. And for me, it's the simplest way to change our lives. And I run these groups, one is called Creating the Body, Health and Happiness Group. I run it on a Friday evening. And some months and months ago, I was running this, and same people turn up, people join, but it's the main core of the group's the same. And my friend from Australia was on it, and afterwards she said to me, your energy was off. I'm not into that kind of energy stuff. I don't understand it. But she said, your energy was off. I said, well, can you tell me what it was? She said, no, you have to kind of figure it out for yourself. So anyway, eventually I got it out of it. She said, look, I think what's happening is, whether you're doing it conscious or not, you're creating a reliance on you for these people who are creating their life and creating their body, because they're turning up every week, and we've been doing this for a couple of years. She said, I think whether you're doing it consciously or not. So because I asked the question of everybody, I asked the question of myself, what is that about? And it came back to me that I have a need for approval. And one moment we have a need, then we're in trouble. So here's the blink and delete. It's so simple. You can write it down. You can, people are going to listen to this recording, but it's so simple. This is the thing, the sad part about us as human beings. Most of our beliefs, who we are, what we can, what we cannot achieve, what we're capable of, even our religious beliefs, were created by a child under 7. Yeah. And that is a pretty sad thought. How old is little George?
18 months.
Well, he's making decisions, believe it or not, based on the people around him. Absolutely. And you would not have a 4-year-old boy making a lifelong decision about what you're capable of. Yet most of our beliefs were created by a child under 7. And the other thing about it is, most of the decisions most of the beliefs we create, or the decisions we make, are made in an emotional state. And when we're emotional, as you've just seen, we're not functioning optimally. And so I asked the question, when did I make that decision that I need approval? Let me tell you the blink and delete whole technique, okay? This is what happens. When you come against a block, I can't do this, I can't do that, I need this, whatever. You ask this question, when did I make that decision? How old was I? Where was I? Who was I with? Was it even my decision? Now, the moment you ask the question, you don't need 3 years of therapy. You'll immediately go to where you made the decision. You might have been 13, you might have been 21, but the chances are, most of the time, it'll be before you're 7. And so what you do is, you ask that question, when did I make the decision? How old was I? Where was I? Who was I with? Was it even my decision? You go there and you look at it from where you are now, from the evolved person you are now. Because you are not the same person you were a week ago. And you are definitely not the same person you were 20 years ago. You've evolved, you've learned things, you've had experience, you've got strengths that you wouldn't have had before. And we're functioning on decisions we made in a less informed state. I believe this, and I'm sure because you're a therapist,
I believe it as well, Freddie. I know tomorrow I'm going to be different to who I am today.
Exactly. Yeah, because we're learning all the time.
Absolutely.
But,
Creating our future.
Yeah, and so I believe that we're geared instinctively to thrive. Given the opportunity, we'll thrive. Physically, mentally, we'll thrive. But we're only making decisions based on the understanding that we have at this point in time.
Absolutely.
And you've seen smokers, I'm sure. I've seen tens of thousands of smokers. I can count on maybe 2 hands the amount of smokers that started smoking as an adult. And by that, I mean their 20s or 30s. The majority of people who start smoking at 13, 12, 15.
Yeah.
We're making
and stuff. Yeah.
We make that decision at 13. We wouldn't make that decision at 30. And so we're making the best decisions we can given the information. But we don't need to live with the decision we made when we were 12 or 13 or 14 or whatever it might be. So what happens is this: you ask the question, you immediately go there, you'll remember where it was. You don't have to search for this. You don't have to do years of regression therapy. You'll immediately go to where you made the decision. You look at it again from where you are now as a mother, as a father, and you go, now that I've evolved, is that decision any longer viable? Or is it an obsolete decision that I made in a less informed state? And if the answer comes back, no, it's no longer valid, it's obsolete, you blink twice and you delete it.
I like it.
Then you go to what I call neutral, which I'll show you how to do in a while. You go to neutral emotion and you make a new decision. Because in neutral, that's not I don't care, but it's neutral emotion. And in neutral, you can make the right decision. You can take the right action, get the right outcome. As I was saying,
is that a bit like being indifferent, Freddie? Like in between, like it's like being balanced, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in between emotions. So I call it neutral because in neutral, you're not being affected by any emotion.
Absolutely.
So, but in neutral, you can make the right decision.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's Yeats or one of those poets. He said, if you can keep your head while all around you are losing theirs, a better man you'll be, or something like I don't know the poem.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to go to neutral, and we spoke about the things I developed, but one of them is a thing called TPM, Total Perception Management, how to have complete control of your emotions. And when I broached the idea years ago, so I think we can take control of our emotions, someone said, well, if you can just switch off your emotions, surely that makes you like a robot, makes you less human.
Makes you in the moment, I'm sure.
I thought about it for a while, but I have to tell you, having used this for so long, taught it to so many other people, I actually believe it makes you a more advanced human being.
Absolutely.
Up until you get control of your emotions, you are a slave to your emotions.
Absolutely.
You know, someone breaks our rules and we feel angry. I have a right to be angry. Someone just broke my rules. So I'm going to be angry. I'm going to, you know, indulge myself in that emotion. And my kids are going to suffer. My family's going to suffer.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always say, Freddie, nobody can upset me. Only I can upset myself.
Yeah.
Nothing out in the world can disturb me except for the emotion I apply to it.
Well, you know, getting back to total perception management, nothing exists outside of your skull except as perception.
Absolutely.
You know, you're looking at me, Kate, and you're looking at me, Dave, and Kate could describe me to you, Dave, and you could describe me to Kate, and you'd have a kind of good idea. But if you could, for one moment, have Kate's perception of what I actually look like, it would be so vastly different to yours, it would be mind-blowing.
Absolutely.
Because I don't exist outside of your skull.
No. Yeah. Reality is so different for every individual.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So when we realise that, then we can ask the question, is this emotion serving me in any way? Or is it detrimental to me and people around me? If it is, then you learn how to turn it off and you go to neutral.
Yeah.
And in neutral, you can make the right decision. You're not forced by, you know, how many people, I mean, I've done it, you know, how many relationships have I wrecked by being jealous, my own insecurities.
Yeah.
To know, like know what I know now and recognize it for what it is. It's a useless, unnecessary emotion. Go to neutral and make a new decision. And so with blink and delete. So you ask that question, when did I make the decision? How old was I? Where was I? Who was I with? Was it even my decision? And that last part of that question, you'll find that most of the time it wasn't even your decision. It was someone else's opinion about what you're capable of.
Mhm.
But because you're a child, you go, well, they're an adult, I'm a child, that must be true. They say I'm not any good at math, that must be true. I'm not this kind of person, that must be true. No, it was someone else's opinion. So you blink twice and you switch it off, and then you go to neutral, make a new decision. And we can be doing this all day long and upgrading, if you like, the computer between our brains. You would not be functioning and doing this on a computer that was 30 years old. And yet most of us are working with software between our ears that's 40 years old or 20 years old.
Yeah.
But we can upgrade. We can look at every decision we made and ask the question, now I've evolved, is that any longer viable? Or is it an obsolete decision I made in a less informed state? And if the answer is no, it's no longer viable, blink twice, delete it. Go to neutral emotion, or like you say, indifferent, and make a new decision from where you are now with the information you have now. And you can continue to upgrade. We don't have to live with decisions we made when we were 12 or 13 or 21. And we don't have to go through years and years of therapy to do it either.
Absolutely. This is really important information, Freddie, because there's lots of people that are going to be watching this who you know, might never consider going to see a therapist and are struggling with their lives. And, you know, what a great technique.
Well, you know, what I'm teaching, and I've just gone onto TikTok. Someone said to me, "You're on TikTok." I said, "What's it all about?" He said, "Well, it's blah, 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 I'm making these videos." So I started 2 weeks ago on TikTok, and I think I put out maybe 9 or 10 videos. I've got 20,000 followers. I've had close to a million.
I'm dead jealous, Freddie.
How have you done that?
Close to a million views. Close to a million views. One of my videos has had 600,000 views. All right.
Wow.
So, but people, one of the girls on my course who's a marketing expert, she said, you know, you could teach this stuff. What is it? You know, there are people out there charging fortunes to get people on TikTok and get them to get the kind of following you've got. How have you done it? Yeah. I've got a clue what I've been doing, right? But I make videos, and this is the rule for me. If I'm going to make a video, I don't care if it's 30 seconds or 10 minutes. The thing is this video educational or transformational? I'm not going to put out just any stuff on anywhere. Yeah. It has to be transformational. It has to be, or it has to be educational. And so if you look at those videos on there, every one of them is set to change your day. That's it. It might be 30 seconds. But I've
seen a few of them, Freddie. They're pretty good, I've got to admit.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, you know, and so what I'm saying is, I don't believe a lot of people can't afford therapy, but they can change their life with simple information that we have now that we've evolved. I mean, it's immense. You know, let's think about, this is something I've been saying for a long time, and a lot of people, that makes no sense. What I'm going to say goes back to what we're talking about as nothing exists outside of our brain, except of our skull, except as perception.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing, nothing is real.
It's not. I'm right with you there, Freddie.
That's ridiculous. You know, I can see my computer. That's real. I know it's real. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when we think about our past, it's not exactly as it was, because our memory is not 100%. And even if it was exactly right, there's nothing we can do about it, because it's in that void, that vacuum that stretches back to the Big Bang. It's done. So what's the point in worrying about it? There's no point. If you're worrying about the past, should have done this, could have done that, would have done that, it's of no consequence. And if we're worrying about the future hasn't happened yet. It can only be imagined. That's not real. The only thing that's real is in this moment. And it's so tiny that by the time I've said it, it's already gone. It's a way to change someone's day, all right? Change someone's life.
Absolutely. It's a very non-dualistic, Freddie, because I'm into non-dualism myself, which has really helped me in my life. You know,
my son's into all that stuff, Dave.
Yeah,
my son's into it. My son's into it. We ran some training in India, in Kerala, a couple of years ago before lockdown, and he went to this temple because he's into that non-dualistic. My brain can't function in that way, right? For me, as you can probably tell, I am just a simple soul. I see things easily. I don't see anything as complex. I think we're simple beings.
I think with the non-dualistic approach, it is incredibly simplistic because, you know, everything's just appearing on a certain level. And how I use it is when all stuff I would previously perceive as, you know, not good is now neutral. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I can't say
there's no good or bad. There's no judgment.
Exactly. And I can't always do it 100% of the time, but it's really made a difference in my life. I'm a very happy, joyful soul, you know, and I have to say it's because of that awareness and recognizing that it's just a waste of energy to feel, you know, negative about these things because it is what it is.
You know, we got kids and you've got all that stuff and, you know, finances and stuff. There are going to be times when a thought comes to your mind, oh, what if that happens? But the moment we do that, we have to remind ourselves that at this moment in time, it's just our imagination. Here's the thing. Some years ago, ran some research on the brain and how it works. And they stuck this guy in one of those MRI scanners, I think it is, put a thing on their head where they can see his brain. And they gave him a simple task. And the task was to press a button in his right hand or his left hand, randomly. Whenever he felt like pressing the button, press the button. That was all he had to do. So he's in the brain scanner, and the people are looking at the screen. After 5 or 10 minutes, they could predict which thumb he was going to press. Sometimes 15 seconds before he pressed his thumb. So what came from this bit of research and why I'm talking about it, because of what it meant to me, is that we can't do anything, right? If I ask you, if you've got a cup on your desk and I ask you to pick it up, you could do that easily. Yeah? To build a robot to do that one simple task would be immense.
Yeah.
The best mechanics, best computer people, all that stuff, to build a robot, just to pick that cup up, pour some liquid into its, hold in its mouth without spilling it, put it down without breaking the cup, would be immense. Yet the moment I say to you, can you pick your cup up? Your brain will run what's called a schema. It would figure out everything you need to do to pick that cup up and have a drink before you even move a muscle. Now, so what this meant to me when I read this bit of research, I recognize I can't do anything. Pick up a glass, have a drink, speak to you, present to a group of people without my mind running to the outcome.
Yeah.
Come on. That's the way our mind works. Now, in the past, and for most of us, when we think about presenting or something that's out of our comfort zone, our brain runs to the worst case scenario because it's trying to protect us. Doesn't want us to feel foolish or whatever. So for weeks before, we're thinking about all the things that could possibly go wrong. Time we get to the presentation, we're like in bits. And it might have been a time in my life, I can't remember when it was, when I might have felt like that.
Yeah.
But now understanding what I understand, I know I'm going to imagine something. I'm going to imagine something when I think about presenting. So I may as well imagine the best outcome.
Absolutely.
So for now, this is when I go present, this is what I think. It's a simple imagination. I think they're all going to be friendlies. They're going to love what I've got to say. We're going to have a great time together. And I step on stage in that mode. And generally, that's what's happening. If you see me work, Dave, you know that's what I'm like. I'm the same talking to you as I am on stage. It don't make any difference to me. But that's imagination. So if you're speaking to somebody, just in general conversation, and you say, how are you? And they say, look, I've got this exam coming up. I'm really anxious about it. Or I'm meeting someone, blah, blah, blah. To change their life, to change their day, this is what you say. Imagine it differently. Just imagine it differently. That's all we have to do. Because at this time, it's not real. Whatever you're imagining, whatever you're anxious about, it's not real in this moment. So you may as well imagine it differently. But imagine the best outcome.
Yeah.
The worst thing that can happen is you can be disappointed. But you don't spend the next 3 years worrying about something that never. How much time have you spent?
Oh my God,
worrying about shit that never happened? How much
unbelievable
capacity have we spent to recognise it and then go, no, I'll imagine it differently. You know, you probably know by now, I'm not the standard kind of therapist. And I sing to my clients, right? Not very often, but I do.
You sing to them, Freddie?
I sing to them, yeah. Okay. It's only one song. It's not very long either. you know about anchoring. You know about anchoring. You know how to anchor stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's thousands of people now walking around my voice in their head. It probably pisses them off a big.
So what's the tune?
I explain to someone when they start telling me about their anxiety, or I'm a worrier, or whatever it might be. I say, well, look, this is what's going to happen. I explain about our imagination, and I say, this is what's going to happen from today. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, and you don't want to hear me sing, and you don't want to be stuck with my voice in your head, then you best turn the sound off, because I'm going to sing in a moment. And this is the way it goes. I say, in a moment, I'm going to sing. And you're going to be stuck with this song in your head forever. Every time you start to worry, you're going to hear my voice in your head singing this song. It's going to bug you, but you're stuck with it. And I say, are you ready? I go, yeah. And here it goes. It's just my imagination running away with me. Just my imagination running away with me. I say, now you're going to be stuck with that forever. The next time you start to worry, you're going to hear my voice in your head singing that song. I might as well imagine it differently. And that is how easy we can change our life. Look at the decisions we make. Ask the question, is it any longer viable now I've evolved? No. Blink twice, delete it, go to neutral. Make a new decision. If you're worrying about the future, just imagine it differently.
It's so incredibly simplistic as well, Freddie. You know, it's like
I don't see any of this. I don't see change as complex.
No.
You know, when it comes to worrying, I jokingly say I've got a worry lobotomy, because I refuse to worry. I just refuse. I just will not. You know, people try and put, what about this going to happen? I'm not going to worry about it. I can't. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I refuse. I just absolutely refuse to worry about stuff.
Yeah. Very similar.
Stuff to happen. I've done loads of strange things. And, you know, there's things to worry about if I was a worrier. I'm not going to worry about it, because does it make... I'll tell you, one of my favourite films, and the reason I like it is because there's one thing in it. You might see it's a film with Tom Hanks called The Bridge of Spies, I think it's called.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen it, have a look at it. It's a great film. But anyway, in it, in America, it's a true story about this Russian spy they call. And Tom Hanks is the lawyer. Anyway, the guy's facing an electric chair because he was a traitor and all that kind of stuff. And so Tom Hanks is trying to get him off from being executed. And then they decide to swap him for an American pilot that went down in Russia. And so he had to go back, and they might kill him in Russia. Mm-hmm. So all the way through the film, Tom Hanks is saying, you might get the death penalty. Are you worried about it? And this guy says something which stuck me forever. I'll tell you, that's the best part of the film. He says, will it help? I just love it. Every time Tom Hanks said, are you worried about it? Will it help? Yeah. By the end, Tom Hanks was not asking him anymore. You know, his answer was going to be, will it help? And, I just love that for that one reason. Will it help? You're worrying about this. Will it help? Is it going to make any difference worrying about it? No. Well, imagine it differently. We don't have to.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Sorry?
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Teaching people to ask themselves these questions when these emotions or feelings arise or whatever.
Yeah, and just ask the question. They're a simple question we can ask ourselves.
Mm.
They're like in automatic mode, aren't they? And I think for a lot of people, obviously, if they're not educated with this, then they're never going to do it. You know, they're going to end up. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of information out there. But anyone that's watching this, anyone that wants to change their life, remember when we first started, this was about the power of love and influence.
Indeed.
Knowing what you now know, because you've had an experience of hypnosis, eye-open hypnosis, with a couple of words and the power of love. Once we understand this, I want everyone that's watching this, and we can all do it, write down 4 or 5 things that you want to happen in your life. A physical goal, career goal, financial goal, spiritual goal, emotional goal, but not a paragraph, but like a one-liner. I want this to happen. I want to feel like this. And then every time as you're going about your day and someone frustrates you and you feel that rise of emotion, be ready with your suggestion to yourself. And then in the past where things would just wind you up and make you kind of not serve you, now those things can serve you. Someone makes you laugh, be ready with a suggestion for yourself. If I can make you laugh, I can stick you in that chair. I know I can. That's the way it goes. If I can create an emotion, I can do it. But we may as well be using this ourselves. And my son Anthony, we travel all over the world. Well, not since lockdown, but we are going to start again this year.
Mm-hmm.
Travel all the world training people how to do this work. And we have a little fun thing where we try a competition so you can learn as much of the language before we get to the country, right? That's what we try and do. So based on what I've just been saying to you about emotion, if I'm going to listen, I listen to a thing on Audible. It's called come to me in a minute. Anyway, it's a language things you books you listen to. And I get into an emotional state first. I think about one of my kids. Positive emotions. I think about people I love, people who love me. I get into that state, then I start to listen to the music because I know listen to the words because I know it's going straight in. We talk, when we learn hypnosis for the first time, there's talk about the critical faculty. Right? It's one of those things like the mind, like the spirit, like the soul. No one's actually seen one or held a critical faculty in their hand. But we assume we've all got one. But how many hypnotherapists will describe what a critical faculty is? So my thinking is this. Up until the age of about 16, we are like sponges. If look, your little George, I mean, he's learning so much stuff. How incredible is it you can learn in 3 years? Walk, talk, all that stuff. But anyway, if you tell George there's Father Christmas, he assumes there is a Father Christmas. Why would it? He doesn't know about lying yet. Yeah. He doesn't know about flattery. He doesn't know about that kind of stuff. So everything you tell him is truth as far as he's concerned. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So as we get older, we develop this critical faculty, which is like, in my mind, just picture it as like a tight wire mesh over our brain, which as we get to like 16, 17, it closes up. And then we have a defense against flattery and sales and lies. We know when someone's lying and we don't have to take it on board. And so we can't be influenced in the same way. What I think happens is this. When we create an emotion or have a spontaneous rise of emotion, this is what happens to this thing. It goes, opens up. And there's no resistance to what's being said to you. You take it on as truth. Yeah, that's what I think hypnosis is. We bypass the critical faculty. We can do it with inductions, we can do it with hypnosis, or we can do it with emotion. And we can do this in conversation. So that's what I came on here to talk about and what you asked me to talk about, because I see it as the most important thing. If we're working with our clients and we see them start to sob, I know for a lot of women, Kate, it's really hard for them to do therapy because a lot of their clients cry. And your instincts as a woman is to kind of calm them down and pat their cheeks and, and tell them everything's okay. It sounds harsh. If I see my client start to cry, I am going to get very direct. This is the last time it's going to affect you. The need for a cigarette's gone. The need to snack, comfort, eat, boredom is gone. That irrational fears. I'm going to get very, very direct because I know.
Because that emotion spiked, Freddie, yeah?
Yeah, it's emotional spike. And I know that's bypassing any of their resistance. And it goes in as a direct suggestion. It's just carry it out. So I'm looking for spikes of emotion. In my presentations, I think you've seen me, Dave, I try and make people laugh.
Absolutely.
If I'm doing a quit smoking group, I'm going to make them laugh. And when they're laughing, I'm saying, you've had your last cigarette. The need for a cigarette's gone. They're laughing. They haven't even heard what I've said. But it's bypassed any critical resistance. It's just in there. I don't know what you said. I don't think I was hypnotized. Just don't need another cigarette. This is what I'm saying. This is not complex.
No.
All the things we've taught in our hypnotherapy, like course originally, taking people back for months through all the crap in their life. You don't need to do it. There's the Jacquin time machine, another one of my things, right? And it's very simple, right? Because it's complex. The arrow technique, which I'm kind of renowned for, even though I've been doing this stuff for 30 years. The time machine. We're hypnotists. So if I make a judgment that if someone says to me, look, I was 13 and someone frightened me or something happens, and I think it's of value for them to clear that out, then we do it like this. But like with the blink and delete, I say, look, knowing you survived this, from the evolved person you are now, I say, in a moment, I'm going to click my fingers because I'm a hypnotist. That chair you're in is a time machine. Not imagine it's a time machine. It is a time machine. And in a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers. You're going to go back to that very first moment that relates to this problem. You'll remember where you were, remember you were with, but you're going back as you are now, with all the understandings you have now as a mother. And you're going to reassess and reevaluate, not regress to it. What's the point in regressing back to the 13-year-old? If you regress back to the 13-year-old, you're going to make another 13-year-old decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's so true.
But to go back as you are now, Kate, look at it again from where you are now, with the understandings you have now, and reassess it, reevaluate, take the learnings and the strengths from it, store them in that part of your mind. And when you're ready, I say, give that kid a hug, tell them you survived it, thank them, and then say goodbye. It's just like 3 minutes of therapy, not 3 years of therapy.
Yeah. Which Dave and I are both very into is not prolonging, not bringing up all that content again.
No.
Get it done and then
have a look at it again. Reassess it from where you are now. Reevaluate it.
Yeah.
Is it any longer viable? Take the learnings from it. Take the strengths from it and give that kid a hug and let it go.
Yeah.
Do it now. And then come back to now only as quickly as that whole NLP thing, only as quickly as you can reevaluate every subsequent event. Yeah. Drop into your body, go even deeper into hypnosis. That's 3 minutes in the middle of a parts negotiation or some other technique I'm running in therapy. And it's done. Come back next week. Let's have another look at the next 10 years. No.
Yeah. I do find, though, Freddie, that you never hold on to your clients for very long because you've almost sorted them out in one or two sessions. And honestly, that's it, they're done.
I now offer 4 sessions, right? And this has been for the last 2 years. For the last 28 years, I've seen people once. I've seen 35,000 people, Kate, once. Yeah. That is terrible business. But, the thing about hypnosis is we can help people very quickly.
Yeah.
It's not the best business model. If you're a shit therapist or an aggression therapist where you're going to keep people in therapy for months, chances are you're going to earn more money.
Yeah.
In fact,
terrible.
The person we spoke about, Neil French, I say he's still alive. I don't want to speak bad about anybody, but that was a shitty course. And it was all about
I'm sure he won't be watching, Freddie.
It's all about hypnoanalysis, right? And he said this, and this is the man, and you must have heard him say it. He said, you keep your client in for 12 weeks. Doesn't matter what they come in for. You keep them for 12 weeks. Because the course I saw, and you probably saw, was called Successful Hypnotherapy.
It was exactly that.
Based on successful, how to earn money from this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And he said, you keep your client in for 12 weeks. And he said, and it's easy to do. This is true, Kate, right? If he's listening, he knows it's the truth. He said, it's easy to do. He said, because this is what you do. Toward the end of your session, you say, in a moment, I'm going to count to 10. Blah, blah, blah. And you'll come back to everyday wakeful awareness. Looking forward to our next session where we can continue. Person's in hypnosis.
Yeah.
And you've suggested They're going to look forward to seeing you again. Of course they are, because they've been hypnotized.
Oh, that's awful.
And so that is what the man said. He can call me up on this, but I know he knows that I'm telling the truth. That's what he said. You keep your client, don't matter what they come in for, 12 weeks. As soon as I came out of that course, I started reading about Erickson. I started reading some other stuff. And I realized we could do this stuff very rapidly. As I said, this is true. I've seen over 35,000 clients face to face. That's not talking the last 2 years online. Face to face, I've seen over 35,000 clients, and most of them I've seen once. I've survived.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You know, so I can't bring myself to say this is going to take 6 sessions or 12 sessions. If I think, I know, if someone sees me with a phobia, I know they're going out of that room without the phobia. I know it. I haven't got a doubt in my mind. If they come and see me for smoking and they commit to doing that work there, they're going to go out with a need for a cigarette gone. Not you start smoking this week, you have 2 cigarettes, and you come along, and last week you don't have a cigarette before you come and see me, otherwise I'm not going to see you. And 12 weeks in, we're going to do the work. No. Person can get cancer in the next week.
Yeah.
I want them quitting now. And so, yeah, it's not the best business model.
No.
I've had a great life out of this. And I know you can have a great life out of it. I say it's 4 sessions now. And I'm still, a 4 session, probably the same price as most people's 1 session. Because I haven't changed my prices for like 20 years.
I was thinking about I was thinking about this and about the sessions. And like someone might come to see you for a particular thing, but there's so many other things going on in their lives that you don't always have time to focus on those things. And I know the idea of like, if you're working on something, it will affect other areas of their life and stuff. But I've come to the conclusion, you know, 4 sessions, you can really clear up a load of shit.
Yeah.
Basically.
I don't hold to the belief that the problem's never the problem. I think that's a shit thing to say. Because quite often the problem is the problem.
Yeah.
You know, people who want to lose weight, it's not because everyone's had a trauma in their life. Some people just like cake.
Exactly.
You know, it don't have to be any depth thing. But what I say to my client is, look, if you're coming to see me with smoking, I fully expect you to quit smoking today. But when you realise how easy it is to quit something that you thought you'd never do, you may think about other things you want to change. In which case, over the next 3 or 4 weeks, we can work on those things. If it's a hypnotherapist that comes to see me to change a problem in their life, I say, look, we're going to resolve this fear and anxiety today. And if you want, I can teach you some hypnotherapy in the next 3 sessions. You know, I don't mind, you know, because it's just the way it goes now. And I think with things like weight loss, obviously that's a journey. So I'd normally see people for that for, you know, 3 or 4 times anyway, depending on what the journey is. But we can change people's lives. As I've said to you a moment ago, you can change someone's life in a conversation, in a sentence. Imagine it differently.
And you also, Freddie, you give so much away free on YouTube. You know, you've got lots of videos on there. You've got your arrow technique. People can go on there and check that out, and lots of other stuff. That's you know.
Well, I want people to know how to do this. I'm working with the College of Medicine here in the UK, and they want to get this into to doctors. I mean, I'm saying the arrow technique for pain. If you haven't experienced it, Kate, have a look and see. It's now out as an app. So we've got it out as a free app. I think we've had like 90,000 people download that app. It's free. And you can go on if you're in pain and download. It's called Painkiller, right? Because they said arrow doesn't mean anything, but painkiller, you know, so it's one of those things to stick in your mind. And go on, download it. It's my voice on it, and it's free. And all we ask you to do is share it with as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that in a 5, because if you speak to doctors about hypnotherapy, I can't do that. I haven't got 25 minutes to hypnotize someone. But with the arrow technique, and I'm saying this, if you're a medical doctor, you're giving your client maximum amount of painkillers, and it's not touching their pain anymore, then why would you not say, let's try this? It's only words, just your imagination. And it's going to take 5 minutes.
And there's no trance involved, is there, Freddie? There isn't, is there? There's no trance involved with it either.
You can do it.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
You don't have to be a trance. I mean, you've seen how powerful emotion is.
Yes.
Where did I say you're going to be hypnotized. Where did I say sleep or deeper? Yet
No,
you couldn't move your arm and you couldn't get out of that chair.
Yeah, a lot of
You know,
people
how
think it's
deep
an
you
eyes
need to
closed state, don't they?
Sorry?
A lot of people think it's an eyes closed state,
Yeah.
hypnosis. It's not.
Yeah, it's not a
at
state of
all.
eyelids, as my son would say.
Exactly.
You know, we can, and I do hypnotize people with their eyes open, and because it gives them a big experience. I want my client to go out of my therapy room thinking, shit, I was hypnotized. Not, oh, that was really relaxing, but not
Absolutely.
knowing whether I was hypnotized or not.
Because I remember in the early days,
go-
I would never do, show them that, like stuck to the chair or hands stuck together. I remember I never used to do any of that, and people would probably left feeling relaxed, like you said, but I could have really stamped, the whole
Well,
experience.
I do it as, one of the things I use is what I call parts negotiation, which is communication directly with the part that's running the problem. If you look at every problem we have, every behavior, it's a piece of programming. And if you think that, there's a part of you that runs that program, once it's learned, it becomes an automatic function, something we can do without thinking. And once it becomes an automatic function, we no longer have conscious control over it. For people to change their smoking habit or their eating habit would be like me saying to you, you can't understand what I'm saying in English. You can't switch that off. You had to learn. I mean, little George is just learning to speak. In the next 6 months or so, he'll be speaking. But he's learning to speak. We all had to go through that. But once it's learned, you can't not understand English. And so it's from people who come in with a habit, which is mostly all of the behaviors they come in with, it's as difficult. I say to people, I say, my doctor said I've got to quit. I say, it's great. Well, I say to your doctor, forget how to drive. They go, that's ridiculous. Forget how to walk. That's ridiculous. It's not something I think about, something I do. And yet, people think you can just change a habit. But what hypnosis, for me, this is how I see it, what hypnosis gives the operator, the hypnotherapist, what it gives us is access to that underlying programming. That's what hypnosis does over counseling or any other talking therapy.
Yeah.
In hypnosis, we have access to the underlying programming, and we can change the program, or they can change the program. As I say to all my clients, I don't actually do anything in my therapy room. All I have is a learned ability to get my client in touch with their own ability to change. They make the changes. I don't make it. It's no fluence coming from me down the internet. No, I'm just getting them into a state where they get in touch or get access to their own abilities.
Absolutely.
When I see people with fear and anxiety, at the end of the day, say, I can't feel the fear. I say it's because it was never real in the first place.
So, Freddie, just for the viewers, right? Because there's going to be people watching this and they're going to think, after listening to you, they're probably going to think, going to give hypnotherapy a try. So, like for viewers who've got no idea about hypnosis, there's a lot of people that are afraid of it. Like they're going to be under control and all this sort of business, isn't it? People I've spoken to, that's one of the things that comes up. I'm not going to try hypnosis. They'll make me do something. The old age.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why. Being yourself. I think the old way of thinking, where people would think, I'm under hypnosis, I'm asleep, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I think it's the opposite. I think when we're in hypnosis, all of our senses are heightened.
Yeah.
You can hear better, you can see better, you can smell better. And the other thing about those senses is that if the person's if the therapist has any kind of underlying whatever thoughts, that's not 100%, the person picks it up. You'll have had people come and see you and say, I've been to hypnotherapy before, it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then they say, there was something about that person I just didn't get. And so I think one of the main things for us as hypnotherapists is to be ourselves in the room. I say to all my students, I say, look, hold this thought in your heart. I care about you and I want you to be well. We should be thinking it anyway, but sometimes we get so caught up in the technique and the words, things we should be saying, we forget to be human.
Yeah.
But
it's the intent behind it, Freddie. Is that what you're saying? It helps as well.
Yeah, I mean, why would you not have that intention? You know, so I care about you. I want you to be well. If you know, I've said it to my clients, if I think it's legitimate, say it. But I'm always going to think it. I'm always going to hold that thought in my heart, and they pick it up, and then they can relax because they know you want the best for them. Yeah. But there are some people who they come into this as a business. They think this is a good business. I can earn X amount of money an hour. They're not going to be successful. That's my belief, because people see through it.
Yeah.
And I say to my students, you know, we run the Jacquin Hypnosis Academy, and we run a diploma every 6 months. There's one going all the time. It's got them on 3 different time zones. And at the end of it, people start to be hypnotherapists. And I say, look, instead of asking how much money can I earn, ask how many people can I help?
Yeah.
Keep that in your mind. How many people can I help? How much fun is that going to be? Because the money will follow. Exactly. If you're there thinking, I'm here because I'm going to earn so much money. No. You've got to get, like you said, your intentions have to be right.
It's a beautiful thing, Freddy.
Kate, you must love it. I mean, I know I love it.
I love the energy flowing to, you know, if I can get my energy flowing to the client and feel that energy coming back and get that rapport going, anything can happen.
Absolutely.
That's the amazing thing. And when I come out of that session, I'm empowered and I feel as though I've changed as well.
Well, you can't help people let go of their limiting beliefs and their useless habits and their pain, their useless unnecessary pain, and hold on to it yourself. You can't do it. It affects you, like you said. You find yourself dropping all of your own limitations, your own limiting beliefs, because you're seeing people do it all the time. And the other thing about it is we should be working towards being the best we can be.
Best version of ourselves, Freddie.
Yeah, the best version of ourselves. So we can say to our clients, I can help you achieve what you want.
Absolutely.
And otherwise, there's a lack of credibility, and people pick it up. They know if you don't believe, if you're sitting there saying, I can help you achieve what you want, but they're thinking, I can't achieve what I want, people pick it up. You know, so just by keeping that thought in our mind, I care about you, I want you to be well, and doing our utmost. You know, are we going to get 100% results? Absolutely not. But you're going to get more results with more people if you hold that thought in your mind. So, you know, the power of emotion is what I'm talking about. It's a simple understanding. It's a great phenomena. Just get them to think about the people they love and then show them something. But you have to do it with conviction. You know, most hypnotherapists you'd interview on here would not attempt to hypnotize both of you or do something, because what if I fail?
Exactly.
I'm going to look stupid and I'm going to lose everybody. I don't even consider it. I don't, you know, and it's, as you know, because you're doing this work, people say to me, you know, what's the most common phobia? Is it needles? Is it spiders? Is it snakes? It's none of those things. You know the most common phobia, and the most common phobia is the fear of failure. That's the biggest fear that most people hold. Absolutely. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. As you know, I've got my Jacquin rope workout, how to get super. I
haven't seen that, Freddie, but I'm going to check it out.
So I was reading this book by a guy called Tim Ferriss called A 4-Hour Body. It's a great book if you want to create the body you want. And but one of the things that stuck in my mind, which I think is the best analogy for when we're talking about the fear of failure, if you want to grow muscle, not just get toned up, but if you want to bulk up, if you want to put muscle on, you have to work that muscle to failure. So instead of doing like 20 dumbbells, you do 3 or 4, where the 4th one, you can't lift it. You're putting everything into it and you can't lift it. You fail on that 4th one. And in that moment, what happens is you rip the muscle. And muscle is scar tissue, believe it or not. So you rip the muscle, it then heals the scar and it grows. So when I read that, it occurred to me that is the best analogy for us as human beings. You want to grow as a therapist, you want to grow as a person, you have to work to failure. You have to, instead of looking at failure as your enemy or something to avoid, we should be actively seeking it out.
Absolutely.
Use it as our ally.
Mm-hmm.
And most people will not try any hypnophenomena because they're scared of failing. But until you do it, you have to fail a few times. And it's painful.
Practice.
Over it. And so what I'm saying to everyone that's listening to this, if you have a fear of failure, if you want to do something and you're not doing it because you're frightened of what if you fail, look at it the other way around. Use it as your ally. Be willing to take that pain, because that is the moment that we grow as human beings. In the moment of failure is where we learn. It's the moment of failure where we grow. So that's my tip for today. Use failure as your ally, and we'll all grow. Someone said, it's a great quote, or someone said, nothing grows in a comfort zone except complacency.
Absolutely.
Or as you'd say, indifference. So we can stay in our comfort zone. We can avoid failure, but we're not growing.
Exactly.
Be fearless. What's the worst thing that can happen? Someone goes, oh, didn't work. So what? No one died.
Imagine if you made it your ally, like you say, failure. You can only go forward, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's painful, but I say use it instead of fearing it. That's my thinking on this. But anyway, I've been rabbiting on.
You have, Freddie, but it's been amazing. I don't know if anyone's actually watching us now. If anybody is, and anyone wants to put a question in quickly before we go, very welcome. Have you got any questions for Freddie, Kate?
I haven't. I'm actually going to tune into YouTube and everything. Learn the arrow technique. I'm going to study everything.
Well, our course, Kate. I mean, I'm not just talking to the course, but our course. You can go on to the JHA Jacquin Hypnosis Academy.
Yeah.
You can join for 14 days. It's free. You can binge on all the stuff that Anthony and my son Anthony and I have done for the last 30 years. That includes the 2-day training that we ran for Mike Mandel in Toronto called the Modern Hypnotism course. You can get the arrow technique for free in that 14 days. Download it. It's 2 hours of intensive to learn the arrow, which, is free to do. You can look at all of our videos and stuff. And if you want to do our diploma course, I'm telling you, it's £1 a day.
Wow.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's £1 a day. And if you join now, right, throughout this summer, I'm running a retreat in the lakes. It's free, a 2-day free training for all of our members.
Right.
So you could come and have that time with us in the lakes if you join a membership, and it's 365 quid or something for the year.
Yeah.
And it's £1 a day.
Yeah.
And you get a 6-month diploma course. At the end of it, you get a diploma from the JHA Academy. So anyway, that's my sales pitch.
Yeah.
Love it, Freddie. Love it. And people,
I'd be great to see you there, Kate. Have a look and see. It's free. JacquinHypnosisAcademy.com. Go and have a look. Join for 14 days. You don't have to stay with us. But if you do, as I said, we're running these. The next diploma course starts in June. So, you can join it 6 months. And it's great because what happens is because it's online, you're working with people all over the world. And what we do is we have a 4-hour session. We then put you with a buddy and a circle. So in the next 2 weeks, you have a buddy to practice with, you have a circle to practice with, and we've created this incredible community. Have a look and see what you think.
Yeah,
I'd love to see you there.
Yeah, thank you. I will. I'll check that out.
And my book Hypnotherapy is out on Audible, and it's one of the best-selling books on hypnotherapy on Audible.
I saw it earlier.
I spotted that today, Freddie, because I like listening to audios rather than reading. I get really tired.
Yeah, I mean, it's me on it, but it's one of the best-selling audio books, and and it's great. I went to Las Vegas to run a presentation a couple of years ago before COVID, and I'm in Las Vegas in this hotel, the Orleans Hotel, and I'm walking down a concourse, and a guy stops me, and he said, "You're Freddy Jacquin, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." From the other side of the world, as far as I'm concerned. Stranger comes like, "You're Freddy Jacquin." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I bought your book." He said, "My mum's been in pain for 20 years." He said, "And I used your arrow technique. She's out of pain. Thank you very much."
How wonderful is that, Freddie? Eh?
I mean, if I never do another thing, Dave, honestly, and that lady's out of pain, I can go to bed every night, put my head on my pillow, go to sleep.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's I don't know why I've been given these ideas, the arrow technique, Jacquin time machine, the blink and delete, you know, the Jacquin phobia cure and TPM and all those things. But I was speaking to a lady, or a student, but she's also a hypnotherapist in Australia. And she said, I have all these great ideas. She said, you know, I said, have you done anything with them? She said, no, not yet. I think, sure, I've got one for a book. And I said, have you done anything? No, I haven't done anything with it. I said, well, look, here's the thing. Not everyone has those ideas. And when you're given an idea, you need to act upon it. Because let's imagine someone knows you, Kate, and they care about you and they love you and they know what you like, and they put themselves out to seek out a really lovely present for you. And they find this present for you and they wrap it in a beautiful box and a bow and they give it to you. And, oh, Kate, it's this pet present. I bought this present for you. And you go, thanks very much. And you take it and you put it on a shelf and you never open it.
That's terrible. Yeah.
Great analogy.
How many presents are they going to give you after that? So I think when we have an idea, instead of thinking, well, will anybody be interested? Just do it.
Yeah.
Because not everyone gets those ideas. And this girl, Lisa Derwin, her name is, after that, she created one of the biggest quit smoking forums ever. And it's out there. She did amazing with it. You know, she had loads of good therapists, Carl Smith, myself, you know, loads of really good therapists. She got together. I think it was 1,000 people on that forum to quit smoking.
Wow,
and it's amazing. But she acted. I don't know if it was my conversation with her or not, but she took action on one of those things. And I'm saying to anyone that's listening, you have an idea, take action, because you're not going to keep giving you those ideas if you're not going to use them. You just put them on the shelf and don't look at them. So that's my analogy for today.
I love it, Freddie. I love it.
And you'll be stuck with my voice in your head from now on.
You're
stuck with it.
You're better singer than me, Freddie. Well, look, you know, thank you so much for coming on and sharing this information. I know lots of people are going to really benefit from this, definitely. And I really appreciate it. And yeah, what can I say?
Well, just to remind people, you don't have to have years and years of therapy to change your life. Change your mind, imagine it differently, think about it differently. And if you're stuck with a belief, just take three minutes out, go into hypnosis, and then say, in a moment, I'm going to count to 10. I'm going to pop out of that trance I've been in for 20 years, and I'm going to be in a positive trance. Absolutely. We can change our lives. Great to meet you, Kate.
Great to meet you too. I'll see you
again, Freddie.
Give a little Georgia hug for me. My oldest grandchild's 27 now, and my youngest grandchild's 13. Got 5 grandchildren, not even children, they're grand adults now. Yeah, my oldest granddaughter's 27, and my youngest granddaughter's 19. I've got 3 great grandsons in between them. So enjoy it, because it will go like that. I promise you.
It will, Freddie. I've got a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old, and it's going quick, Freddie.
I've got a 50-year-old and a 48-year-old. So what are you worrying about?
Excellent. Anyway,
right, look, it's been great, and I hope you enjoyed it. I've loved it. Right.
Okay. All right.
Well, take care.
We'll see you soon, Freddie.
See you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.